under the Faculty of Educational Sciences and Technology, or currently we are still called by Faculty of Social Science and Humanities. So welcome everyone who are with me here and also online. Okay, I'm grateful to have you today with me in this sharing session on the topic life as a PhD student. Okay, this is I think for myself is a interesting topic, but I don't see myself as a good example as a PhD student. Okay, because yeah, I believe that all of us will have our own story when we applying our PhD, when we are completing our PhD. Therefore, I'll just do some sharing today, and we'll look into the positive aspects of the life as a PhD students and some tips that I've obtained from some literature. Hopefully, it will be beneficial for all of us, inshallah. Okay, so yeah, my PhD is in Edutech here at UTM, and I've been with the department for around 20 years. Okay, quite new, in fact. Okay. So now let's look at the first slide. Okay, this is what I got from phdcomics.com. So the feeling of getting a PhD, all right? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. Okay, so getting a PhD is something interesting, something nice, something good, something that is wanted by all PhD students, okay, or maybe postgraduate students. Maybe some of you are master students currently, and you might be looking into doing your PhD in the future, hopefully the near future, all right? Probably after you finish your masters, you'll straight away continue with your PhD, or maybe you are planning like working for a while after your masters and then come back for your PhD, or maybe like what we have here in UTM and some other universities as well, we have the fast track PhD, where you enter UTM for your PhD with your first class degree. Okay, so if you have a first class degree, you could apply, you talk to your supervisor on doing a fast track PhD, meaning that you go straight into PhD study without going through the masters. Okay, so there are many options, but in the end, everyone likes to get a PhD. But then through this comic, if you could see, as an astronaut lands on the moon, okay, it's a small step for one man or one person, but it is a giant leap for mankind. So the benefit is as we can see here, probably is larger than the a person or a student, a postgraduate student obtaining or getting a PhD. Why? Because it's a giant leap for yourselves, for ourselves. Okay, each of us as an individual, when we did or we do our PhD, when we pursue for our PhD, to get a PhD is a giant leap for us. But for mankind, probably it's a very tiny, or probably some would say insignificant step for other people, because we are not solving the world's problem. We are solving one, maybe a portion of a real world problem. Okay, that's the focus of your thesis, and that's what you solve throughout your study, and the novelty from it allows you or puts you in the situation where you could get a PhD. Okay, that's it's a increment of knowledge actually. Okay, but probably if we compare to people landing on the moon, it's not as big as them. All right. Okay. So before we begin, this is what we could call the vicious cycle of a PhD student life. Okay, pun intended. All right. Okay, so this is also I got from phdcomics.com just to begin with today. Is this you? Yeah, is this you? Is your journey currently like this? Or if you are at the beginning of your journey, you're looking into your activities, your research activities throughout the week. On Monday, probably, as you can see here, you fantasize how much work will get done this week. Okay, I will do this, I'm going to do this, I want to do this, I want to complete this, I want to meet my supervisor, I want to write this much, and so on. But that's normally on Monday, or maybe here in Johor, we are on a Sunday. But then on the Tuesday, okay, the next day, you have this, you have that. Okay, as in this example, this comic example is you have a soccer league, all right, and so on. You are doing web searching and so on. So the graph goes down on Tuesday. So the motivation for you to continue studying, for you to complete your research, probably goes down day by day. And then probably your advisor or supervisor drops in unexpectedly. So maybe they look for you. When are you going to come to meet me, and so on? Where's your paper? Where's your thesis? Where's chapter 2? Where's chapter 3? And so on. So you become motivated again, probably. And then after that, the motivation goes down until Wednesday. All right. So on Wednesday, when you heard that there's a conference that you need to attend, so the motivation goes up back again. And then on Thursday, probably the motivation goes up because you want to watch TV, you want to complete as much as work as you could. But in the end, after you have done all that, the motivation goes back down. And then we go into Friday, and then we go into the weekend. Hopefully it's not you. Okay, hopefully you don't have this kind of it's not productive really. So I hope that we don't follow or imitate whatever that's shown here. It's just a comment on the vicious cycle of a PhD student's life. Hopefully you have enough motivation, a lot of motivation, and you really want to finish your study. You really want to conduct and perform your research. You really want to obtain guidance from your supervisors. You really want to finish your study and then contribute to the people at your place and so on. So hopefully this is the main drive in yourself that would motivate you to finish and complete your PhD. Okay? So, a PhD life. Firstly, maybe challenging at times. Okay? There are times where when you are studying, okay, it gets hard from time to time. Okay, it gets difficult. You have a lot of hurdles in your research. You don't manage to complete things. You are not able to gain enough references, or maybe you lost touch of your methodology and so on. So at times it may be challenging. Okay, that's the truth. Everybody who did their PhD knows this. Okay, everybody who is in the process also knows this. But hopefully it doesn't sustain, right, towards the end. Okay, so it may be challenging at times, but it is a very good experience. I will tell you, it is a very good experience. The challenge, okay, the opportunity that you have, and all the time that you could use to complete your research, to study for your PhD. One day, all those knowledge will equip you to meet, to overcome future challenges in research and academia. So it is worthwhile doing your PhD if you really have the motivation to do it. But because each of us who has registered for a PhD degree, okay, you must already have a motivation. There must be a reason why you register in the first place, right? So when you already applied, when you already accepted, when you already registered, this means that you really want to do it. It's just that at times it could become a bit difficult. So we have to always look for opportunities, chances, and ways to overcome all those probably difficulty and everything. Okay, so that's one thing about PhD. Secondly, PhD will equip you, among many other skills, to extensively review extant literature, all the available literature today. Because outside of the research life, I believe it's not impossible, but it's quite hard for us to find time, to look for time, to sit down and do some literature review or looking for literature for your research and so on. Okay, so this is the time you have, the time that you could really use, okay, to equip yourself, okay, with the literature, with the previous research and so on, to gain a good knowledge. That's what we are looking for. Okay, so then in the future, we can apply all that we have obtained, that we have found throughout our study, okay, in our area of interest in the academia. Okay, that's what PhD is. Okay. Next, the pursuit of a PhD requires you to ascertain a gap of knowledge in your area of research interest in your field. So, to find the gap, it's not like looking for where is the bootcamp today, C14227. It's quite easy to find, right? The room is quite easy to find. But to find a gap in knowledge, you need to read a lot of literature. You need to do a lot of research trying to find a gap between literatures. Maybe you read this and then you read this, you could not connect them both and so on, trying hard to looking for what is the problem in this area and so on. So that is one huge thing to do actually. Okay, something that you need to consistently work on it to find the gap for your research. Once you have justified the gap, okay, you fill in with the research method and procedures. Hopefully, in the end, it will come up to something beneficial for everyone, inshallah. Okay, and then the aim for a PhD researcher, among others, is to test or find the truth of something in the area of interest and help advance knowledge in the area. So in the end, you will become an expert in your field. Okay, once you get your PhD, you can be considered as an expert in your field. You have the knowledge about the things that you have mentioned in your PhD thesis, the things that you have discussed in your PhD, okay, all the literature review that you have did, all the discussion, the solution, the conclusion that you've made throughout your study, that makes you an expert in that particular area. So, you are contributing something towards the body of knowledge. You are advancing knowledge in your own way through your research. So this is something actually. But, okay, it is not a walk in the park. Okay, it's not as easy as how we could say it. It is a long process. For some people, it could be 3 years and you graduate on time. Some people, it maybe could take 4, 5, 6 years, and probably there are also people who completed their PhD 10, 11, 12 years, or maybe more, I don't know. Okay, so there are many different stories of people doing their PhD, how they complete it, what are the hurdles that make them could not achieve in time and so on. There are different stories if you ask many people. Okay, everyone has their own story. So it's not as easy as stroll in a park. Okay, it's not as easy as you are just walking down the road and so on. So, with this statement, is it possible to find life in all this? When we say that PhD is a very tedious process, it's a long journey, it's a long process, a lot of work is needed to complete the PhD. You need to do a lot of reading, you need to synthesize, you need to analyze, you need to conclude whatever that you have read, you need to put in suitable methodologies by referring to previous research and so on before you could produce your own research. With all that things to do during your PhD journey, is it possible to find life in all this? Okay, because some people say they could not do anything while they are doing their PhD, only focusing on their PhD, on their research, on their study, okay, without mixing with people, without meeting other people, without doing any other things, okay, as though PhD is something that stops you from your actual life. Okay, so how is it actually? Now, this is something that I got from Campbell 2020. Okay, before we go into six steps to create the perfect routine for a PhD student, okay, we look at the average hours of a common or in general, how long does a PhD student spend their time, okay, on their PhD? Okay, what we can see here, okay, the most hours spent in a week by a PhD student is around 41 to 50 hours per week. Okay, 41 to 50 hours a week. So let's put it in context. Maximum 50 hours per week. So you could have the first scenario where you spend 10 hours a day, which is a 5 days routine. So 5 times 10 is 50 hours. Or in scenario 2, you spend hours, 8 minutes plus per day for a 7-day routine. So which one are you? Are you the kind that spends only 5 days a week on your research and then you take 2 days off on the weekend? Or are you the kind that works every day, 7 hours every day? Maybe you begin at 9, you finish at 5 every day, including the weekends. Okay, if in Johor, it's on Friday and Saturday. In the places, maybe Saturday and Sunday. So which one are you? Or maybe you belong to the other groups. Maybe this one, less than 11 hours per week. That's kind of unfortunate. Or maybe if you are a workaholic, probably you spend more than 80 hours per week. That would be like more than 10 hours per day if you work 7 days a week on your research. Okay, so through this survey, Campbell found that most students will spend around 50 hours a week. So around either scenario 1 or scenario 2. So hopefully we could try our best to be in this group, either of this group, okay, in scenario 1 group or maybe scenario 2 group, which you will spend a huge amount of time every day, okay, to complete your research without jeopardizing your own life. Okay, because even though you spend 10 hours a day for part-timer student, yeah, I think so, Miza, okay, because let's say if you're a part-time student, you'll work 8 to 5, and then to spend another 10 hours a day, that's, I don't know, you'll spend like 22 hours a day, right? 22 hours a day, so it leaves you another 2 hours for your sleep, for your meal, for your salat and everything. So that's not practical for part-time students. Okay, so probably these are for full-time students, and I believe the data that shows students who spend less than maybe 20 hours or 30 hours per week are those who did their PhD part-time. Okay, as long as you maintain the momentum, don't ever stop. Okay, because through my own experience and most of my friends also said the same thing. If you stop for, I don't know, maybe few days, if you stop 1 week, and worse, if you stop for 1 month to restart, okay, to continue with your work is very, I don't know, what's the proper word to say. Okay, it's very hard, it's very difficult. As though you are starting all over again from the beginning. Sometimes you need to read back what you have written. Okay, probably you have a bunch of articles for your chapter 2. If you stop for, like, say, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, once you begin, all right, or you restart, you need to look back at all those literature. You have to read everything one by one, okay, to have a grasp on what you have or you are doing, okay, in your research. All right. So this is generally what Campbell found. Okay, the time spent by students, especially PhD students, in a week. Okay, Campbell suggested 6 steps, okay, to create the perfect routine. Probably we could pick up on some of this, okay, try to apply it in our lives. Hopefully it would assist or help in our life as a PhD students. Okay, number 1, okay, probably some of you are part-time students, okay, maybe some of you are full-time students. Either way, you need a schedule. Okay, you need a schedule for yourself. What is your routine? What is your everyday routine? If you have to work 8 to 5 or whatever the time is, okay, you need to put in, once you commit to your PhD, once you have applied, been accepted, you have registered, as I've said earlier, it means that you need to put some commitment towards your study, be it 1 hour a day or 2 hours a day or 3 hours a day, okay, as a part-time student. For full-time students, probably we could follow what have been shown by Campbell, probably around 7 to 10 hours a day, okay, for you to work on your research, okay, because here in UTM, of course, to graduate on time, GOT, 3 years and graduate, right? Or if you are a part-time student, you would have 16 semesters or 8 years to finish your research. That's quite a long time. Okay, if you multiply by 2, okay, let's say full-time students, 3.5 or 4 years. So you have half the time. You need double the time of a full-time student, okay, and you work only half the time every day, like the full-time students. Okay, if they work, let's say 8 hours a day or 7 hours a day, so you need to try and work maybe 3-4 hours a day after office hours. So once you come back to your home after 5 p.m., maybe you rest a bit, 1 or 1.5 hours, okay, including your journey time, and then you need to begin. Okay, let's say you start at 8, so you need to finish at 10 or 11 every day. Make it as a routine. Put it into your schedule. Okay, without a schedule, without discipline, I believe you would not be able to finish. Okay, so the early phase of the doctoral process is an important time for PhD students and researchers. So at the beginning, you need to plan. Okay, if you wait until 1 semester, finish 1 semester, you still have not planned what you're going to do for your studies, that's a bad sign. All right. Once you realize that you must adhere to a strict timetable to achieve your goal, the PhD student lifestyle transform to incorporate important several elements. So if you have planned, you have got yourself a schedule, you know what time you need to work on your thesis, on your research, then hopefully, and I really believe that it would really help you in completing your research and your study. Okay? Okay, that's one of the important keys. Second, structure your work. So you need to have a structure, when, how, what, and so on. Okay, a day in the life of a PhD student can vary depending on the field of study and where they are in the doctoral process. Okay, for beginners or those who are at the beginning of their PhD journey, probably it's not the same as those in the middle. Those who are approaching their viva or submission date, it's also different. Okay, the same goes with those who did or who are doing full time, and also those who are doing part time. So, as an example, social science and humanities, these generally tend to spend huge amounts of time in reading and research. Okay, so you will go through literature day by day. Okay, probably slightly or different totally from those in engineering field. All right. So probably there must be differences based on the area of research that you are doing. So try to structure your work, know your work, and get advice from your supervisor or supervisors. Okay, get advice or tips from your colleagues, your friends, your batchmates, and so on, so that they could share with you what they have did, what they have done, and probably you could assimilate that into your work structure. Okay. And then the third one would be set weekly and monthly goals. Okay, because sometimes we tend to think that, okay, we have 36 months. It's a long time. So 36 is not too long actually. 36 months. Okay, if you don't do anything, you don't have any goals after 1 month, after 2 months, or maybe after 1 semester, 6 months, you find that you did not achieve anything throughout that duration. So that's kind of pity. Okay, so you need to set weekly and monthly goals. What are you going to achieve this week? Okay, my seniors have also taught me that we have to set even our daily goals. Okay, let's say today I want to spend half the time reading. So you take, let's say if you work 7 hours, you take 3.5 hours to read. Okay, find the materials, do your reading, and then after that, another 3.5 hours, try to rephrase or paraphrase whatever that you have read during the first part of your day. Okay, you could also do systematic analysis. You could also do annotated bibliography. Okay, to summarize what you have read during that day. Okay, this will eventually help you during your writing phase. Okay, when you want to conclude a particular subtopic or section in your thesis, okay, you could look at it. Okay, whatever that you have written down, okay, this is something that is relevant to this discussion. You can just pick it out and put it in your paragraph in your writing, because you have paraphrased it. You have summarized what you have read, not copying directly from the article or previous research. Okay, so once you understand the type of task at hand and have a routine, it's time to start setting goals for every day in your life as a PhD student. So let's say 1 day, 1 page of writing. That's good enough. 365 days, you'll get 365 written pages, right? So that's a good exercise to be writing each day. All right. Maybe 1 page is too little for some people. But for most people, 1 page could be a very huge thing to do in 1 day. Most, not some, but if most PhD students, including those who have finished or have completed their study, they must went through, okay, like myself, a day when you only stare into your computer monitor and don't know what to write down, right? You're just staring, thinking, what am I going to write today? So those are some of the things that could happen to postgraduate students, especially PhD students. Okay, these are some of the steps to create the perfect routine for a PhD students. Number 4. Don't forget about this. Apart from when we discuss or we talk about working, you have to prioritize your work, you have to plan your work, you need to have goals, weekly goals, daily goals or monthly goals, okay? You need also to have enough rest and sleep. Don't forget to sleep during the time that you should sleep, okay? Because for some people, maybe those who are younger, in their 20s, you could stay up until 2, 3, or maybe 4 a.m. before you go to sleep and wake up at 6 maybe. Okay, that's for those who are used to this routine, or maybe those young candidates, they could do this. But those in their late 30s, 40s, 50s, or maybe 60s who are doing research or PhD study, sleep is something that is very valuable. Okay, you really need sleep, you need rest in order to for you to recharge before beginning or continuing your work. So, as a student, don't forget to sleep, get enough rest. Okay, the heavy workloads and tight deadlines you need to manage without sacrificing sleep and rest. Okay, we are not robots. We could not work 24 hours, 7 days a week. Okay, we need to rest. You need to schedule when to rest. Okay, try to get enough rest and sleep. Okay, by that I mean not by sleeping throughout the day. Okay, only sleeping and sleeping without doing your work. Okay, that will not solve your problem or complete your study. Okay, a lack of sleep and rest. Okay, this is what we already know, can impact how alert you are and can result in mistakes. Okay, some days or events that we tend to not have enough sleep. Let's say tomorrow is your proposal defense day. Probably during the night before, you could not sleep. Okay, thinking of what will happen tomorrow. Will the examiners accept your idea and so on, right? So don't overthink. Okay, try to produce or prepare your slides and everything few days before. Okay, you could also do a mock presentation with your supervisor, and then the night before your viva or night before your proposal defense, try to have a good night's sleep. Okay, prepare everything so that tomorrow you won't be in a rush or you won't be too tired because you did not sleep. Okay, that's number 4. And then, all right, as we mentioned that 36 months or maybe 3 years, it's a very long journey. Okay, you could not go on and on and on. 3 years working on your PhD, on your thesis without having a day off. Okay, this is the truth. So at times you need to take a day off. Okay, as we have seen earlier. Okay, if you work every day, let's say 10 hours for full-time students, of course, okay, you can take the weekend as your day off. Probably, if not both days, Friday and Saturday, you can make Friday as your weekend and then continue working on Saturday. So you will work 6 days a week. All right. What about those who did their or doing their PhD as part-time? Okay, you need to try your best to balance this. Okay, you have to work, of course. Okay, we have to respect that, and then you need to find some time after work, let's say 2 or 3 hours, for you to go into your research, and then on the weekends as well. Don't take the whole day during the weekend for you to rest or as a day off. Okay, this is one of your sacrifice for maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years. Okay, so that's 52 times 356 weeks or 156 weekends. You need to do your best to sacrifice. Not sacrifice all of it, but probably you have things to do in the day, during the day, or maybe during the night. So try to find 3-4 hours on the weekend. Okay, try to do some research works in order for you to complete your PhD. Okay. And then set aside time for exercise. Okay, apart from your productivity with your PhD works, okay, apart from your mental health, you also need physical health. Okay, you need to set aside some time for exercise. Okay, if you're staying in campus, okay, if you could walk you could walk around the campus. Okay, that's a good exercise as well. Okay, like myself, I park my car over there and I walk 3 flights of stairs, okay, to get to my office and so on, from one class to the to my room, from my room to the office and so on. We walk. Okay, so 10,000 steps a day is a must for most of us. But there are research. Okay, there is a research I've read that shows in average people in Malaysia, okay, people in Malaysia in average they only walk around 3,000 steps a day. 3,000 steps in one day. All right, so that's not exercising, that's just walking from your living room to your kitchen to get some food or to get some water and then go back to the living room, or maybe walking to the toilet or back to your bedroom and so on. So in one day you could get 2,000 steps. Okay, if you need more than that, you need to go outside, try to do some exercise. Okay, it's important. Okay, must include this, which is exercise in your daily routine. You can also include any kind of relaxing exercise, meditation, yoga, or whatever. Okay, why? To relax yourself, relax your mind. Okay, maybe you could go to the seaside, try to look at the waters. Okay, or maybe go hiking and so on, or maybe go for a jog, 5 kilometers. Okay, to release your mind a little bit for a little while from your research works and come back fresh and energetic for you to continue with your research works. Okay, these really help. Okay, these steps or these tips really work and help in assuring that you have enough energy and momentum, okay, to do your research works and complete them, especially if you want to finish it in time. Okay. Okay. Next, let's compare with something that I found from Yun-Lok Lee. He was a former academic research honors and PhD advisor and examiner at SCU, New South Wales, from 1999 to 2014. Okay, all right. He wrote something on the life of a PhD students. All right. So if you ask, do PhD students have a life? Okay. Is there any question over there? No? Okay. If you have any questions or you want to add on anything to what I've shared here, okay, you just raise your hand and turn on your microphone. Okay. So if you ask, do PhD students have a life? Yun-Lok Lee would say yes, if you work wisely. Okay, that's what we have looked earlier, where you need to plan your work for every day, for every week, for every month, and also if you could plan for your throughout your PhD journey. You plan to complete in 3 years or 4 years. Okay, what's your plan? Okay, you cannot just say, okay, I'll finish in 3 years without having any plan. So you need to have a plan or work wisely, okay, to complete your PhD. This involves good planning. Okay, that's what Yun-Lok Lee said. Scheduling time each week, month, year to achieve required the work. It requires one to carefully work out a good balance between work, study, rest, exercise time. Okay, this is what we have discussed earlier. Okay, between work and study. So for those who doing part-time, you need to try to balance. Balance, not, it doesn't mean that you have to sacrifice your work, okay, because that's something that you have done before you begin your or embark on your PhD journey. But then you need to try to give priorities to both, okay, your work and also your study, but without sacrificing the time for rest and also exercise. Okay, try to read, try to get some advice or tips on when and how to exercise, okay, how to rest and so on, so that throughout the journey, 3, 4, 5 years, you won't sacrifice anything, especially your health. Okay. It requires the exercise of discipline from the person, which means enduring full concentration in the work while working. Yes, this is one thing I need to highlight. You need to focus 100%. Give your full attention and concentration when you are working on your research. What normally happen or often happen is that when you start to work on your research, there's so much deviation. You could probably click on YouTube and watch a few videos. I don't know, maybe you spend 1 hour watching videos, okay, and not finishing your research work. Or maybe spending time on your phone, replying to messages and so on. So you consume a lot of time doing that. Although you are in the office, let's say for full-time students, you spend 7, 8 hours a day, but most of the time, there's no productivity, especially in your PhD work, okay? Because you spend a lot of time doing other things, okay? This is not good. So you need to really concentrate, try your best, ask for guidance from Allah, okay? So that you would be able to concentrate, focus, and work productively, okay? Throughout every time you are doing, okay, your research. And then number 2, okay, Dr. Lee said, no procrastination. This is also something that often happens among PhD students. You tend to think too much or overthinking. In the end, you don't do anything, you don't get anything. All right. This also happened to me when I did my PhD. Okay, too much procrastinating. Okay, as though you are actually thinking, but you're not. Okay, you're not thinking, you're not focusing on your research. You just how do we say it? How do we put it? You look like you are thinking, look like you are doing your research, but actually you're not. Okay, so just go through the literature, try to summarize, okay, try to write something, get something out of your day, okay, so that's something, it's a kind of achievement, daily achievement, okay, you can say that today I have achieved something, so I'll come back tomorrow to continue, okay, as compared to if you just sitting there hours and hours without doing anything, okay. All right. So apart from that, okay, you must wisely intersperse work time with time to rest and recharge. Why? Because this would hinder procrastination. Yes. Any question? Anything to add? No. Okay. Okay. This balance of work and play time must be carefully worked out and observe, okay, because I believe some of us have also a kind of hobby of watching or binge watching movies or maybe dramas online, okay, since we have the video on demand streaming option. So this is also something that would become an obstruction to your PhD work. Okay, so you need to try to focus and try not to procrastinate too much. Okay, all right. Number 3, Mr. Lee said, relax. Okay, you need to try to relax. When it is rest time, learn to relax and rest as completely as you can. Okay, there are terms such as power nap, okay, deep sleep and so on. Okay, try to read on those things and try to make yourself or give yourself the time to rest and also sleep. Okay, to get a quality sleep and relax so that you can recharge and also you can come back doing your work productively. Okay. Next, Dr. Lee also said that for your thesis, okay, for your thesis, try to start early. From day one, you can already start writing something, as we have talked earlier. Okay. In fact, before you go into your studies, you have prepared your proposal, right? So that is something that you have written down, and I believe that you already have the structure of your writing. You know what you need to write, you know what you need to look for, and then put it into writing. So from day one, try to start writing. Okay, there are some previous mistakes that some of us made that we did not begin early. We wait until the final months to complete our writing, right? So try to write early. You have written so much. It's okay. if there is or there are some things that probably you and your supervisor find doesn't fit in your writing, so you can just strike it off. Okay, as long you already have the materials. But then if you don't write anything, there is nothing to strike out. Okay, the thing that you need to do is write and write and write. Okay, so there are days that you might find a peaceful mind. You have a very clear mind to write something, so try to write. And there are also days that maybe you are not having or it's not a good day for you to write, but do try to write something, okay, half a page or few paragraphs or maybe one page, okay, so that tomorrow if you come back you can look at what you have yesterday and then give it a thought. If it's something that is good, you can just put it in your writing or your thesis. If it's not, maybe you could try to discuss with your supervisor. Okay, ask opinions from friends, and probably by yourself, you could try to improve what you've written and it fit into your thesis. Okay. Next, use the best time. Okay. Oops. Okay. That is when you are mentally fresh. Write the most challenging portions of your thesis. There are parts or portions of your thesis which is very challenging. I think chapter 2, which is your literature review, is a summary of what you have read. Okay, you could do this and that, okay, for your chapter 2. But then for things that you need to really write down with so much focus and be very critical, such as chapter 1, chapter 3, and so on. So try to look for the best time. When you have the freshest mind, try to write down during that time. Okay, these are some of the tips. And last but not least, if you got stuck, if you have any problem with your research, don't worry, try to get help. Okay, seek help, either your supervisor, your co-supervisor, or maybe ask help from your friends, okay, your colleagues, or I believe as in UTM, okay, here we have the counseling unit. You can go to them, approach them, ask them for any advice that they could give you if you have any problem. Okay, probably you call it mental block. Okay, I can't really think for the past 1 or 2 weeks. I don't know why. What's wrong with me? Okay, try to approach people. Okay, to get reliable advice. Okay, so those are some of the tips that we could get from experts or maybe experienced people on how to go on your life as a PhD student. So, how to survive a PhD? Number 1. Sorry? All the above mentioned requires practice to get them right, of course. But don't practice too long because you only have like 3 years to complete your PhD. Okay, the journey looks long, sounds long, but it's not very long. 36 months or 3 years is a very short time for you to waste on other things. So try to use the time optimally to complete your research and PhD. Okay, but please try to practice day by day so that you get to perfect all the mentioned things for you to complete your PhD. Secondly, you need a disciplined and determined mind or goal to succeed. Okay, you need to set your thinking. Okay, once you have commit, as I mentioned earlier, once you have commit to the study, you need to be as disciplined as you could and determined as you could. You need to set your mind straight that you need to do this and complete it. Okay, try your best. I hope there's none of you who are attending this talk today or this sharing today who even the slightest idea to drop out or to leave your study. Okay, please try to find ways for you to be able to complete your PhD and study. Okay, so yes, it is possible to have a life doing a PhD. You could visit your relatives at weekends. Okay, this weekend is Deepavali weekend. Those who are celebrating, they can go back to celebrate. Those who don't celebrate, we could get with family members. We could go for a vacation, 1 or 2 days, and so on. So these are some of the times that you could take as a break in between your PhD work. Okay, so you could have a life, right, during your PhD. It's not just facing the computer every day, reading and typing, writing, just to complete your PhD without even seeing anybody outside. Okay, it is one where things done is done in a balanced manner and activities are properly planned out. Okay, you need to plan out, try to balance your work. Okay, balance, by balance, it doesn't mean that you need to leave your research work or maybe leave a part of your life just to finish your, but the commitment. Okay, how you balance the commitment, try to plan, okay, to prioritize what to prioritize at times. Okay, probably during this day and this day, you need to prioritize your work for your PhD. At times, you need to attend a certain, I don't know, festive season maybe. Okay, so you need to balance all those things. All right, not just work hard, but play hard too. Meaning that, okay, you need to work hard, but also at times you need to rest, you need to have some leisure and so on. Try to give something to yourself, reward yourself and so on for your achievements. Okay, probably the weekly milestone, not every day, of course. Okay, weekly milestone or monthly milestone or annual milestone, or maybe the general milestone that you could or you need to achieve during your PhD journey. So try to give yourself some time to reward yourself, give some break to yourself and so on. So both, you are trying to balance them. And last but not least, for Muslims, usaha, doa and tawakal. Try your best. Don't forget to pray to God and also leave everything to Him, so that Allah SWT will help us to complete our PhD. Okay, it's a long journey, of course, but it shouldn't be a lonely one. Okay, you have everyone around you, you have your family, you have your supervisors, you have your colleagues, you have so many people around you to help you, to assist you to finish your PhD. Okay, so hopefully we could use all the resources that we have to do our best to complete our PhD journey. Okay, these are some of my pictures with my supervisor, Professor Dr. Zaidatun Tasih. So with that, I would like to thank you everyone for listening this sharing session. If there is any questions or maybe some opinions, I'll open it to the floor. Okay, silakan. Okay, there are some questions in the chat. Okay. Okay, from Afham Azman. Doctor, I want to ask, what if I work part-timer, but time for my working is 8:30 p.m. to 6 p.m.? 8:30 p.m. to 6 p.m.? So do you begin in the morning or at the night? Okay, I think this is 8:30 a.m. to 6 p.m. From your opinion, doctor, that I must change the time for my working. Okay, if you need to commit 6 a.m. Okay, 8:30 p.m. to 6 a.m. Okay, so you spend your nights doing work and then you are free during the from 6 a.m. to 8:30 p.m. But you still need to rest. You need to have a good sleep. As a Muslim, you also need to complete your prayers. You need to have your breakfast, your lunch, and so your dinner, and so on. So try to find time because you are working. You're doing PhD part time. So try to find time. Let's say 2 or 3 hours a day. I would suggest. Okay, but make that as a daily routine. So every day, including the weekends. 2 or 3 hours is a must. Solid 2 or 3 hours for you to do your research. Okay, I believe if you spend that much time, okay, maybe one hour for reading, 1 hour for summarizing, and then try to connect what you have read, and then another hour for you to write. Try to write something, half a page or 1 page, and then tomorrow come back, do the same thing. If you could manage to write, let's say, half a page a day, in 1 year, 365 divided by 2, you'll get 182.5 pages. Okay, that's a lot. Okay, I believe if you really consistent with that, inshallah, you would succeed. Okay, try your best, okay, to find time, because you have commit, you have registered and so on. So try your best to spend some time for your research works. Okay, probably not the best advice, but that's what I could share with you probably. Okay, anyone would like to share anything? Okay, no problem, Afham. Okay, it's 3:41. So if there's nothing else, thank you very much for your attention. Thank you. Oh, I asked ChatGPT to help me make schedule, but apa tadi? Mana pergi? But necessary for me to edit and adjust it as to make it more flexible. Yes, okay, because ChatGPT could suggest, and you will need to finalize what have been suggested by ChatGPT. Okay, and also there are examples of how people plan and structure their time throughout the PhD journey. So you could try to search what they did and try to plan your schedule your study based on what they have did during their study time. So with that, I would like to thank you everyone for joining me. Thank you, Mr. Ali, for the technical help and assistance. Thank you again, everyone. I'll be seeing you in the future, inshallah. Okay, assalamualaikum and a very good afternoon. Thank you.